what you know about we? We gon' pull this music underground and back up to the streets. No gimmicks, if we in it, we gon' give you what you need. Nothing more, nothing less, we bout to throw down. Yeah, it's bout to go down.
What's up, guys? This is SoulCyber24 of the Most Lamer Gamers, and I just wanted to give you a really quick review, or just give you my thoughts on the Transformers Rise of the Darkspark game. Came out for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and even the Wii U. Let's start off. Direct graphics. Graphics are hit or miss. First level, you play as Drift, and the graphics on Earth look completely washed out. The texture quality is horrible. And I'm talking about on next-gen consoles, and I've seen videos of people playing on the PlayStation 4, and they say the same thing. It's not up to par with next-gen. Not even, I'd hate to say, not even on PlayStation 3 graphics. There are games on PlayStation 3 that just blow this game away. And this was released on next-gen consoles. So the next-gen versions do not look, from what I've seen, any better than the current-gen versions, which is already, that's a no-no. That just seems half-assed and lazy. Take the time to make the game. But they also wanted to release the game at the same time that the movie came out, you know, which makes sense from a marketing standpoint. But this also confuses a lot of people and makes them think that it's another movie tie-in game, which it's not a movie tie-in game. It follows the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron series. It follows that style of game, not the Dark of the Moon game where it was directly tied to the movie. The only way that this game is tied to the movie is two characters that are introduced in this new movie, which is Lockdown and Drift. To add insult to injury, Drift is voiced by a completely different person in this game that doesn't even have a Japanese accent. If you go see the movie and then you play the game, you're gonna be like, that's not Drift's voice. It's jarring. And it's the same thing with Lockdown. Lockdown's character feels like he was just forced into this game just so they could say, hey, Lockdown's in this game. You know, Lockdown from the movie is in the game. You should go buy it. Which I kind of think it hurt them, because people don't want to buy a movie franchise game. They don't do it very well. They don't do well at all. Most of the time, if a game is tied to a movie, it's garbage most of the time. And that's why the Cybertron series has been so surprising, because initially people were like, oh, Transformers, there's a bunch of Transformers movies coming out, this must be tied to the game. But then when I first played Transformers War for Cybertron, I said, this game is amazing. Then the next one came out and it was even better. And they had a fantastic multiplayer. And the gameplay is great. There's so much personality in the Transformers, in the characters in the game. They're constantly talking through missions. It's just like a Gears of War game. That's the best comparison I can make is the Cybertron Transformers games is like playing a more generic Gears of War game with Transformers slapped on top. And that's basically the best I can do it. Except in the Transformers games, you're going to have a little weapon customization. You're going to have some unlocks, which Gears of War is not really weapon customization, but there's unlocks and you level up and stuff like that. But, you know, they're good games. And High Moon Studios made those two games, and they didn't make this game. But the studio that did make this game, I don't remember off the top of my head, they did a good job of transferring that stuff to the game. Like, the voice actors are all there, with the exception of Drift. The voice actors are there. Optimus Prime, the dude that voices Optimus Prime is always going to be voicing Optimus Prime, and he's there. You know, the emotions of the Autobots are there. You know, their personalities are there. When you shoot somebody with Optimus Prime, he'll say something like, he should have never stood against us, or something like that. You know, all this stuff is there. It's good. The gameplay is still solid, just like the other two. Where it really fails is the storyline, because they're trying to force Lockdown and some other things that are kind of in the movie to tie it in, and the Megatron's there too. So like Lockdown, towards the end of the game, he just becomes a Megatron clone. It's like everything that he's doing kind of contradicts his character, you know. And Lockdown in the movie is a perfect neutral evil character. He's a bounty hunter. He wants to get paid. He does things for profit, for something that he wants. You know what I mean? In the game, it's kind of like they dilute that. The storyline suffers for it. It's a little jarring. There's a point in the storyline when you're doing one thing, and then all of a sudden you go start doing another thing, and there's no explanation. It's just, here you are. You know what I mean? And so that's this game's. I think this game's its biggest problem is the story, because everything else would have been okay. You know, it would have been like, even the first stage, having the bad graphics in the first stage on Earth, you might have looked at it and said, man, this is horrible. But then as soon as you get to the next stages and you get to Cybertron away from Earth, the graphics pick up, and then they're okay. They're still not next gen, but they're good enough. You know what I mean? Nice shiny surfaces. You know, the detail in the Autobots is really good. The detail in the individual Transformers is really good. So the place where this game really suffers is its incoherent story. It's just, the story's not that good. And then you come off the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, and the stories in those games were very good. So that they kind of screwed the pooch on that one. The other thing that I was kind of upset with is they have escalation mode back for multiplayer, which is kind of like how Gears of War has horde mode. Now Gears of War's horde mode has been refined, it's been perfected. It is awesome. Escalation, Transformers, it's good too. You can build turrets up, you can build defenses, and you know, that's cool and everything, but it's still not as good as Gears of War. But then on top of that, they took away the multiplayer from the Transformers games. The past two War for Cybertron games had, or War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron had multiplayer, and the multiplayer was actually really fun. And they just decided to go ahead and strip that out. I don't know if it had to do with money reasons, or they just didn't think people were playing the multiplayer, but it was really fun. You could pick a Transformer, and you could do everything that Transformer could do. You could shapeshift, or you could transform into the vehicle mode. You could use his weapons, his special ability. It was fun. You know, it gave you a reason. In Escalation, I've unlocked Transformers to use, weapon upgrades to use, and it's all for Escalation. And I'm sorry, Escalation's fun. Don't get me wrong, it's fun. Especially if you have a good group, it's really fun. But after a while it gets old. It's like I need more reward for leveling up, for getting this level, for unlocking these Transformers. You know, like at one point I unlocked Grimlock to use, like classic Grimlock. And I wasn't excited about using Grimlock because I was only going to be able to use them in Escalation mode. And in Escalation mode, it's not as fun as using them in multiplayer. That's just how it is. But that's basically how the game suffers. It's a decent game. It's not worth $60. I got it on Tuesday when it released, and I got my free movie tickets, so I was going to get those anyway. So I got it for basically $40, traded it in for $29. So I basically paid like $11 for Rise of the Darkspark. And it's definitely worth that. I'd say this game's even worth $30, okay? So if you can find it for $30, I think you should go ahead and pick it up. My rating system, what would I give it? Give it a comment. I mean, honestly, the graphics are so jacked up, man. On current gen, I give it a rare because it's a decent game. But on next gen, this junk is a comment, man. This junk is a joke. It's a joke. As far as graphics alone, it's a joke. Storyline is garbage. The only saving grace is the gameplay. They took out multiplayer. It's a common game, man. Just wait till the price drops to like $30. If you're a hardcore Transformers fan, you can get your $60 worth out, but do you really want to have to do that? Just wait for the price to drop, you know what I mean? I'm Soul Cypher 24 with the Most Lamer Gamers, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.